اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك.
The organization of Hajj in Nigeria has been through stages of development, especially in the manner pilgrims travel to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj. In the past, intending pilgrims organized themselves in groups under a leader known as Madugu to undertake the journey on foot. With the passage of time, precisely the year 1948 marked the turning point in Hajj operations. That year, three business tycoons, namely Alhaji Mahmoud Dantata, Alhaji Haruna Kasim, and Alhaji Musa Gashash, established the West African Pilgrims Association, WAPA, in Kano, through which they facilitated travels to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj by road and later by air. This paved way for the emergence of private travel agencies who later became major stakeholders in Hajj operations. But in 1975, the private agencies were abolished by the federal government due to some corrupt practices. In their place, the government established the Nigerian Pilgrims Board, NBP, to coordinate Hajj activities for intending pilgrims. The NBP came on stream, but with some difficulties. In a bid to sanitize the system, the federal government promulgated a decree in 1989, established the Nigerian Pilgrims Commission, NPC. 2 years later, precisely in 1991, the NPC was dissolved, and the Directorate of Pilgrims Affairs, DPA, was set up under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in 1995, its functions of organizing Hajj were transferred to the Presidency under a task force. With the advent of democracy in 1999 came a renewed impetus to reorganize Hajj management. A presidential committee was set up in 2001 to work out modalities, and this led to the establishment of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, in 2006 by an Act of Parliament. The Act says the Commission should license, regulate, supervise and perform oversight functions over organizations, associations, corporate or non-corporate, or similar bodies. Engage in organizing and coordinating the movement of persons from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj and Umrah. Provide accommodation, transportation, and other services related to the performance of Hajj and Umrah to pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. Liaise and coordinate with appropriate government authorities or organs of the federal government of Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the rules and regulations governing entry into and staying in Saudi Arabia for the purpose of Hajj and Umrah, including all appropriate immigration, passport, and related consular services. Coordinate the provision of health, financial, security, customs, immigration, and related services to persons proceeding to or returning from Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj or Umrah. Establish and maintain a biometric data bank of all Nigerian intending pilgrims for the Hajj and Umrah. Conduct educative and enlightenment campaigns on Hajj and Umrah in all the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Over the last 10 years, NAHCON has been performing these among other functions. It started under its pioneer chairman, Alhaji Muhammad Bello, who is the current Minister of the FCT, and now Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar. To review the performance of NAHCON in Hajj management, the Commission organized a National Hajj and Umrah Stakeholders Conference and NAHCON 10th anniversary with the theme Hajj Management in Nigeria, Honoring the Past, Treasuring the Present, and Shaping the Future. The anniversary conference began on Saturday, the 1st of July 2017, and was presided over by the Sultan of Sokoto and the President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, while the Minister of the FCT was the special guest of honor. The Sultan's opening remarks focus on the achievements and challenges of NAHCON. he urged all stakeholders to remain committed towards the provision of services that will make Hajj management efficient and effective.
We are here to review the 10 years of National Hajj Commission. We have known how Muslim pilgrims have suffered in this country decades and decades back. We've known how people have struggled to see the independence of this Hajj Commission for a long time. And we've seen how Almighty Allah made it possible that during our time, this NAHCON came to be. Therefore, it's our responsibility, all of us, to see how we can strengthen the operations of Hajj in this country. We must continue to move forward, never to move backwards.
Sultan Abubakar challenged speakers at the event to come up with solutions to the problems facing Hajj operation in Nigeria.
Come out with a working solution to these our problems. We can't all be right, but we can try always to be right. And in trying to be right, Almighty Allah will help you. I'm not here to speak about all the current controversies here and there in the newspapers and social media. We all know the work of media. But I expect during this 2-day seminar, some of these issues will be brought out. They must be brought out so that all Muslim leaders will know what these things are, discuss them, then come up with a solution.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and the first chairman of NAHCON, Alhaji Muhammad Bello, said establishing the commission could not have come at a better time. He said much of the time he spent at the commission was directed at stabilizing the system.
I think the greatest thing that has happened to Hajj management in Nigeria is the enactment of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria Act 2006. Because it's a document that clearly spells out what needed to be done. And it's a document that arose because of genuine desire and yearnings of the Muslim Ummah.
He said much of the time he spent at the commission was directed at stabilizing the system.
During my tenure, we were able to achieve only a very limited part of the act. And I had always told my colleagues in the board that we were there as the pioneer board, in my opinion, to stabilize Hajj affairs. Stabilize Hajj affairs and attend to crucial aspects that were fundamental to Hajj affairs. And thereafter, by the grace of God, those coming behind us will be able to truly implement the act.
Alhaji Bello said for Hajj affairs to become effective, Nigerian business community must invest in the aviation industry.
Now, one of the greatest support to Hajj management in Nigeria is from the private sector. The day we crossed the crucial point where stability started coming was when Nigerian businesses own their aircraft. That's the key. Irrespective of what we do, as long as in Hajj, we are not able to control the airlift, then all the other succeeding activities would not fit right.
The challenges of past Hajj operation and
NAHCON chairman Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar talked about the conference and why it differs from previous ones.
This year's conference is a departure from the conventional stakeholders conference organized by the Commission to evaluate the challenges of past Hajj operation and map out strategies for the success of the future ones. It is unique conference because the Commission has embarked on assessment of its journey so far within the last 10 years of its existence, with the view of reviewing the general challenges and focusing to propel improvement in Hajj management and efficiency in service delivery to the pilgrims.
He also outlined some of the achievements recorded by NAHCON in the 10 years of its existence as a service organization.
Today, we no longer hear about challenges of airlift of pilgrims before the closure of Jeddah Airport. Cases of missing luggage has reduced drastically. Cases of abscondment has also reduced to the barest minimum. Complaints of poor accommodation or pilgrims being stranded in the Holy Land has been minimized. Tour operators' services had been standardized, and handbag tour operators and other service providers have been completely eliminated in the Hajj industry. This has greatly sanitized the Hajj and Umrah activities in Nigeria. This glory of the decade really deserves review and critical analysis so as to fashion way out for future activities of the Commission.
Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar reiterated the determination of NAHCON to start the Hajj Savings Scheme and to also enhance its revenue profile.
Inshallah, we hope very soon as we receive government approval, we'll kickstart the process of Hajj Savings Scheme with appointment of Board of Trustees as contained in the Act that established the Commission. We are working toward enhancement of our revenue profile with a view to gradual financial autonomy of the Commission for the Commission in future without government funding. As at today, we have reduced the offshore government funding to 23%. We are working round the clock to ensure implementation of the Hajj Development Levy project at the various departure centers. We have reached the last stage of the procurement process. It is our hope that before the commencement of airlifts, contract will be awarded and the contractors will mobilize to sites.
Acting Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Dr. Habib Ahmouda Lawal, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Hajia Khadija Bukar Abba, and the Chairman, House Committee on Nigeria and Saudi Arabia Interparliamentary Relations, Honorable Abdullahi Salami, also spoke at the event.
It is no gainsaying that the Commission has achieved a lot in its responsibility of managing Hajj operation. Many Nigerians and foreigners resident in the country have benefited tremendously from the services of the Commission through efficient relationship with relevant stakeholders and host country, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The upgrading of registration, screening, accommodation, feeding, transportation, health facilities, careers, and other innovative measures such as the savings scheme, which is being contemplated, and the security process to meet international standards are indeed welcome developments.
The theme of the conference, Hajj Management in Nigeria, honoring the past, treasuring the present, and shaping the future, is apt and timely. No meaningful administration of Hajj matters will be achieved without taking note of the happenings of the past, to uphold acts that produce good results and discard those acts which did not go down well in the proper management of issues relating to Hajj operations.
I stand before you as a witness to the outstanding achievement of the National Hajj Commission over the last 10 years. The Commission has not only succeeded in efficient coordination of annual Hajj exercise, but has also put in place an effective control over operation in the industry.
When the event moved into the first session of paper presentation, Dr. Usman Bugaje presented the lead paper titled Hajj Management in Nigeria, Some Thoughts for the Future. The paper lamented the lack of national policy on Hajj as the major obstacle to the realization of the objectives of NAHCON in Hajj management.
Just like every sphere of government activity must have a clear policy which guides it and is reviewed from time to time, like economic policy, agricultural policy, industrial policy, etc. So also Hajj. At the moment, I'm not aware aware of any national policy on Hajj. And the absence of such a policy cannot but create constraints, to say the least, in the realization of these objectives. National policies are supposed to break down these objectives and functions of departments of government into implementable components and streamlined into government budgeting scheme in ways that create focus, synergy, and sustainability.
Dr. Saleh Okenwa and Ustaz Abubakar Siddiq were discussants for the session.
How the Commission can help in developing ethical investments in the country, how the Commission can become a means of promoting scholarship among the Muslim Ummah. Unfortunately, up till today, most of the brilliant ideas he proffered then are still lying down unattended to. I hope his analysis of today will not go the same way.
Let me also say that when Alhaji Imam Abu Bakr, according to the paper, presented his findings to the House of Representatives in Lagos, he made recommendations. He said there should be a Hajj commissioner for the Muslims.
The afternoon session was chaired by the Nigerian Consular General in Saudi Arabia, Ambassador Ahmed Yusuf, during which the following papers were presented. The Imperatives of Government Participation in Hajj, Past, Present and Future by Sheikh Ibrahim Khalil. Historical Analysis of Hajj Management in Nigeria, the Pre-NAHCON Era by Professor Batmus Lanre Yusuf.
If the government hands off, where are we going to get representatives from aviation, from finance, from CBN, from Foreign Affairs Ministry? Are we going to rely on retired Muslim brothers who have served in these key establishments?
The paper on supporting the pilgrims to achieve Hajj Mabrur was presented by Imam Abdurrahman Ahmad, Chief Missioner, Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria.
NAHCON is charged with the responsibility of ensuring that Hajj is not only performed, but the Hajj that is performed is Hajj al-Mabrur. Hajj that is Mabrur is one that is free from all kinds of sin.
Dr. Ashir Daura spoke on the topic Emerging Issues and Challenges in Hajj and Umrah Operations in Nigeria, Technology-Based Solutions.
With the Punjab IT board, we're working on these things: electronic pilgrims registration, electronic medical registration module, complaint redressal system, and mobile Hajj guide. Our brother, he has gone. But there is something. This is the first attempt to provide a mobile app which pilgrims and any other person can download.
On the 2nd of July 2017, the stakeholders meeting and NAHCON 10 years anniversary continued with paper presentations. Secretary General to Jamaatul Nasrul Islam, JNI, Dr. Khalid Abubakar, chaired the session. Dr. Abdul Wasiu Gabadeen presented the first paper of the day, titled Professionalizing Hajj Operations in Nigeria, the Institutional Framework.
10 years is enough for us to learn. So we should stop trial and error. We should start doing things right. Yeah. And in doing that one, everything we want to do, we try to professionalize it. No more sentiment in selection of officials. No more sentiment in the selection of Hajj managers.
Malam Bishir Bugaje addressed the gathering and spoke on the topic Hajj Savings Scheme and Financial Autonomy of Hajj Management in Nigeria.
A Hajj Savings Scheme could be used not only to assist the potential pilgrims fulfill his or her religious obligations, but also create an IT-based platform of systems and processes through which the entire Hajj process could be seamlessly and effectively managed.
While making his case in a presentation on the topic, a comparative analysis of global best practices on Hajj management, Lessons for Stakeholders, Malam Shehu Makarfi argued on the need for Nigeria to join the global trend of Hajj management.
When you institutionalize something in a place, the system will work. But when it is done by personal effort, there's going to be a difference between personal effort, personal commitment, and what the system can sustain. If you have a weak system, by the time a great leader leaves, the whole thing collapses, and you cannot sustain it.
The contribution of aviation agencies to Hajj operations in Nigeria, past, present, and future, was the focus of the paper discussed by Captain Shehu Iyal.
Facilities at our Hajj airports should be upgraded and be prepared to work 24/7 during the Hajj operations. Partnership with other international bodies involved in the airlift of pilgrims. There is a lot we can learn and there is a lot we can benefit from that. Nigerian air carriers should continue to invest in equipment and capacity building.
After the presentations by various stakeholders in Hajj management and extensive deliberations and discussions on all the matters raised, the conference communique observed and resolved, among others, that the greatest thing that happened to Hajj management in Nigeria was the enactment of the NAHCON Establishment Act in 2006. The conference observes with appreciation the roles and contributions of the past and present boards of the Commission towards the perfection of the work of NAHCON. The country has no national policy on Hajj. NAHCON should, therefore, explore the means for formulating policies in connection to economic, agricultural, industrial, and other policies for the benefit of the Muslim Ummah. The conference observes with satisfaction the participation of Nigerian businessmen in the ownership of aircrafts to boost airlift operations of pilgrims. The initial years of NAHCON witnessed great challenges, leading to gradual and steady improvements in the management and operations of Hajj and Umrah. The conference recommends that government should not completely hands off from the operations and management of Hajj and Umrah. The conference commends NAHCON for its giant steps and policy reforms in the areas of accommodation, feeding, medical services, airlift of pilgrims, luggage management, Hajj fare negotiation, licensing of Hajj agencies and commissions, accreditation of tour operators, pre-qualification of service providers, and restriction on certain percentage of Hajj officials not to perform Hajj to ensure efficient service delivery to the pilgrims. Participants at the two-day conference have bared their minds on how NAHCON has fared in the last 10 years.
All tour operators that are licensed by National Hajj Commission today are proud owners of IATA license, which presupposes that they can handle any form of travel aside from Hajj. Any form of travel aside from Hajj all over the globe.
The relationship of the National Hajj Commission and the Nigerian Islamic scholars, I will say summarily that the relationship has been very, very cordial, particularly in the area of enlightenment.
I'm really happy today that Hajj Commission is being established for the Muslims. It is a group of people of proven integrity brought together so that they administer the process of actually making Hajj easy for Muslims. And they have been doing that job perfectly well.
There are quite significant improvement as far as NAHCON is concerned. There are quite reforms introduced by the current chairman, which simplifies the operation of Hajj affairs.
We have done a lot of assistance with support of NAHCON to do a transformation to achieve initially 40% full direct flight to Medina. Today we are talking of 100%.
I don't know what the Commission is doing this year to prevent.
How often has the National Hajj Commission embarked?
How can they make it more comfortable? At the national level, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria,
there are 6 days in which the Hajj rites are performed.
So we have put in place mechanism to ensure that on each flight, at least we should have, as much as possible, the medical personnel to accompany the pilgrims and children.
From 2007, gone. This problem is gone.
And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said is this Hajj is compulsory at least once in a lifetime.
Dr. Adam Abubakar sent in the first message via WhatsApp number 0803-452-5741. The message reads, "We congratulate the management of NAHCON for the successful completion of the National Hajj and Umrah Stakeholders Conference and NAHCON 10 years anniversary. We pray for Allah's guidance." The second message from Mohammed Tanko also came through WhatsApp number 0806-535-5243. The message says, "I congratulate NAHCON for a job well done. May Allah continue to strengthen the Commission to implement all its beautiful plans towards the advancement of Hajj."
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا